this off the screen. God damn it. Hello, hello, Imaginary Villain here. Once again, ready to do some game dev. I was saying to mute my microphone so you can hear me complaining that Windows is doing dumb things. Happens. Happens indeed. I've totally forgot to set everything up. Like a professional. Who's now on his 41st stream. Who got left a window open too, for that matter. Nice, nice. Well done, me. Well done. What's this last place there? Post this in the Discord. Okay, so what's new? Well, I did a new background for my event page because I realized it was turning into a catastrophe, and that's actually just being completely generous at this point, I would say. Because, yeah, it's so. The new thing there features a lot more of the characters and all that. Made the system thingy up there and all that. Put Tinka up there because she's, you know, an instigator in the story. So all the items thing about the same. I couldn't think of a good items thing there and all that. Added a character to the story thing for reasons. I'll get to her eventually. I think I'm gonna just. As far as these go, I was debating on these 3 attics here and everything like that. Originally there was gonna be 5, but what I'm seeing is that there's I don't really know if I actually want different ground for it like that, or if I don't want it to be completely, totally different, or if I just want stuff to be kind of the same random crap, but new things start showing up in it, like more random things that you're just like, wait a minute, what's all this doing here? It's kind of an argument. I mean, do I just go completely different, or do I make it slightly different as just time goes by and make each level a bit more different? I don't know. I really want the ability to make it look like you're going somewhere or getting somewhere different, but it also is kind of weird for the ground to be totally different in an attic. I mean, it's an attic. Also, I don't know how deep I want this to really go. I mean, we'll see. If people don't even like the game, I don't really want to go too crazy. So I think I'm going to probably opt for that strategy than just have, you know, expand upon the main attic thingy and save myself having to make a whole bunch of graphics and things. And when I could just make a few graphics, make this better and better each time. I put all the bosses together, including a boss that's not there. She might not even be the actual character for it. I haven't decided yet, but I needed a good render to go there. The mini games now have their own space. Technically, this one should be away from the others because they're not the same mini game. All the player stuff, different version of Poppet. I mean, it's the same Poppet character. I just gave her a different pose, and she's no longer, you know, so stuck up against the screen that, you know, it looks like the camera hit her in the face or anything. Very important. Very important. Enemies are a little easier to read now. I actually need to put the more of the other enemies over here for that matter. So probably can do that. Thinking about it. Start the day by organizing. You should always do this in your project every once in a while. Not only should you save every day, but you should go out of your way to organize things. I make these backgrounds purely for this purpose because since all my events, if you'll notice, don't have a picture, it's necessary. Otherwise, I'm gonna end up with this world where I just can't find anything. And the list over here is cool and all, but you know, it's not that great. It was designed for a few things here, not this. This is a lot of things. So yeah, it needs some work, I'm sure. And then my particles are now over here too. There's a lot of particles. I actually ended up deleting something like, I don't even know, almost like 50 events from this page. They were just all worthless. I was doing a bit of cleaning, but then I realized that I I have now a hard time working on the game when I'm not streaming, because I just don't have the same drive. And I think a lot of the drive comes from people who actually just, you know, show up in chat versus anything else. Then there's the destroyables. Same 3 as before, haven't changed much. NPCs. And then my events that I'm not sure what I'm even doing with any of the rest of them down here. I always have a blank thing for I don't know. And then I have a few more weird story events that need to be moved down there. I've just been doing a lot of sorting. I think one of the things I like to do, especially for the items thing here, is I have these puzzle pieces and tarot cards, right? And yeah, I would kind of like to program them in such a way that those aren't a thing anymore, like where there's just one for each. The biggest problem I've had with that is that when the bubble thingy spawns him back in after removing him, it would pull, how best to put it, it would randomize them, per se. Like, I mean, I could do a thing where it just pulls the next one in the thing there, so you would always find the correct pieces in the correct order. Which would be fine for the tarot, but a little crappy for the puzzle games, or for the puzzles. But at the same time, that's probably fine. Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to think about that, because you know, if I need to make any changes to these, I got to make 25 changes, which sucks. There's got to be a better way. But the big problem is they need to have a piece number set at the start, so they know which one they are, so that when they're removed, they can just simply, you know, come back in and do that. And but I actually have a code here that would just generate based from a actually it's down here. Would generate based on the array and sets the number there. So the more the array is filled up, the more that those are there. And the upside to that is that I can have larger puzzles. I still have to make all the images. That part still sucks. But it would in fact allow me to I mean, I'm not sure which I think is better. Like, having the ability to have more of them does seem like it'd be kind of neat. And not having to update them seems amazing. I have to date like 25 to make a change. Though, admittedly, I pushed it all the common events. I wouldn't even need the common events at that point, really. There's all these common events that, well, I guess these go to NPCs, so. But the puzzle common events are all just for this. It's like, I don't need that if it's just one event that does them all. That's a strong argument for that. We were sitting there talking about RPGMaker Unite, and it's available on the Unity store, and it's $90.90. I don't know anyone who watches this, you know, if they think that's worth it, but maybe it is. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not switching. I'm too far along on this. I don't want to learn yet another programming language. I learned JS. I already regret that decision. I don't think I need to regret another one. They say it's such a useful language, but they didn't neglected to tell you it's not really that useful for game dev. But, you know, whatever. Okay, so let's see here. I guess I could try it out. I mean, I started the code for this here, and having these all be having those all be okay. Here's one problem though. I don't think I included a way to spawn a certain number of something on the my creator thing, like to guaranteed spawn them. And I want them to guaranteed spawn, I guess, so. Do these RFG themselves if they can't spawn? I don't think they do, right? Because they're collectible? Let's look. I have a lot of things going on here. Adds all those to the array, sure. And then I need this part here. I'm just skipping right on past and not even paying attention. If they request NPC, they could do it. Granted, I could just put one for collectibles that forces a teleport if they can't successfully do it. Then I have to redo this here because this portion here where it actually adds the thing in advance would be... I guess it doesn't really add it in advance, does it? It only adds it if it succeeds. Let's test this. I might be able to just cheat my way through this one. Once again, I'm not sure this is really an improvement. This sounds like something only a coder would do because they think it's an improvement, but I guess it does allow for expansion, which is in itself not terrible. We'll have to see. So it's collectible, I just want it to teleport. I don't remember what these numbers actually do specifically for the teleport, but it probably just teleports to a random location. I guess I could look. When you write so many tools, it's just insane. Oh yeah, the distance minute max, and I don't have an effect for it because it's done off screen, so I don't want an effect for it. Yeah, okay, that's fair. I posted a random dumb thing on Twitter too. Fake political outrage thing. Most I just put a, asterisk thing there and insert political outrage here. We'll see if it actually even garners traction. I doubt it. This is Twitter. Twitter is just... I mean, it's basically... I want to say there's maybe 20 to 30,000 real users on Twitter. Like, it's just all bot accounts making more bots. It's weird. Nobody... I've been looking at how many people actually follow links in there, and it's nobody. It's just absolutely no one. Comments are basically non-existent. It's just weird. It feels like a ghost town. But it's a pretty populated ghost town of bots. I mean, it's always been that way. Nothing's really changed. Elon taking it over didn't make it any better or worse. I guess it made it less, full of hate there. Now you can actually post there with being less terrified. Maybe. I don't know. I still don't post it very much. I still haven't been able to convince myself it's worth it. Just prepping my tea here. I need tea in order to convince myself to game dev. So, we're just going to do this here. And then I think I'm just going to spawn a number of those, right? I think I can get away with that because I had the important thing for the tarot on this. Not up, is it? So rather than do this, I conveniently already put a variable down there for tarot, so this way, now I actually have to do this again. I want 22 of them. They can have just a single space they take up, and then I think 219 is the first one. I'll see how this pans out, because if this works and I could get away with deleting a million events, I'll redo both of them to do that. I don't want to... Like, it might be slightly better for being more randomized if I do it the other way, but... I can find a better way to randomize it later, and I don't care that much, so okay. That should be all it takes. Should work on some gameplay ideas, honestly, or more combat or something. Or even a basic story setup. I'm kind of been arguing with myself on, because the whole concept of the game is a very Groundhog Day type of thing, where, they've been in there over and over and they repeat their curse every single night. I considered having it really easy to walk to the end, and then the player just going, It's just playing a fake ending, basically, like that, and then you wake up and find yourself right back in the box. Because, well, nothing really changed. You're still repeating your curse. And then maybe having Tinka here say different things as it goes along, you know, as different days. Do like 7 days or something like that, and after 7 days, she just basically, you know, gives up the curse, just is there forever or something. I don't know. I'm debating on it. Let's see if I can get 22 tarot cards. I hate this test because I have to find 22 tarot cards, but at the same time, what's this random size thing? It's weird. Yeah, the same thing. I mean, if I can do it this way, it's just way better. Are they even different? I wasn't even looking at their pictures. Oh yeah, there's death. There's the angel one. I can't remember what it's called. I think I know all the tarot names by now. And yet, I do not. There's the devil. That came up as the wrong image. Interesting. Wait a minute. I might have used the wrong array. Okay, well that's a weird error. I think they're both pushing to the same array. I'm supposed to spawn 22 of you, right? Zero, 0, and I guess 308 was the first one. In anticipation of potentially switching the whole thing over to this strategy here. Okay, so this is pushing to 374. What is 374? Okay, so it needs to be 364. That's the problem. And puzzle 2. I guess these common events do work for both. Let's see. This might not work because where do they remove themselves from the array, I think is the question. I think it happens on D, right? What is 234? Let's look this over. I might need to make a change here. There might be a better way to do this, honestly. It doesn't require such a stupid amount of events. Current location, that's not helpful. What a weird thing to call. I think the puzzle pieces are kind of messed up as is. I think they're not doing what I want necessarily. Basically, if it does too far, I need it to call itself from that array. Okay, map this. I would think that they're still popular, though a lot of games are often RPG elements versus just straight up RPGs. I mean, the Final Fantasy games still come out. They still produce a lot of phone games that are just even generic JRPGs. But they still exist. It's not like I ever have time to play games anymore. Most of my game time got, eaten by game dev, which is honestly more fun than playing games to me these days anyway. But do I think that a regular JRPG, RPGMaker style is still popular? Were they ever that popular? I mean, really? I mean, people have been making them a long time. There's always been a market, but I don't know if I call it a really big market. Could be wrong though. Could be. Swap the music to something else. My working theory is just have fun with it. Don't go into it expecting to make a lot of money. Maybe you turn out to be the one who makes a bunch of money and you think that's awesome. But the road to get there is a very long one. So if you're not having fun along the way, I don't think you make it, to be honest. It seems much better to just enjoy the ride. And try not to go down these weird rabbit holes like I do, where I try to make things that are just way too complicated for no reason. Yeah, don't do that. Or have too many game projects where I had to cancel like 2 of them because I had 3 of them going, and it's like I haven't even finished one of these. So it seemed kind of silly to have so many. Let's see. So reward is one there, and then this is their D. I think what has to happen for this to even work is yeah, there's a lot of games that are produced these days, and I find that the thing to really be successful is honestly just getting as many people to look at it as humanly possible. That's part of what started this whole thing, where I'm just like, okay, well, I've tried releasing a Game Jam game before. I think like 40 people played it. Woohoo. It wasn't anything all that impressive, and I just realized that you're gonna have to advertise, and well, I don't really have that kind of budget, so I guess I just got to get popular before I release games. I need to call 364. Guess I'll put this inside actual engine for the moment, but I probably should just put it over in that instead. Hmm. I'm actually starting to think that it's better to just release a lot of little games because it gets your name out there than try to release big games. Like once you earn your way up to the big games, it's probably not too bad. But otherwise, your first game that you spend years on, nobody will even know about because you'll be nobody. So it's like probably not the best to spend 5 years on a game and then release it to who again? I mean, I guess you're going to pay for advertisement at that point. You probably should if you spent 5 years on the game. Now to see if the 22 tarot cards actually work still. Well, seeing as this is how it's doing puzzle pieces, I'm going to go ahead and assume the answer is no. Oh. That's because I didn't do a tarot game piece, did I? Smart. Very smart. Oh, that's right. I started writing this last night and never finished. Well, or maybe I did finish. Yeah, if it says combat. I'm a big fan of recycling code. So I just add a different mode on there and just some changes for if it's actually a particular instance or not. But I am still very lazy about actually entering this stuff. When I first wrote this, I wasn't actually good enough at coding to understand a way to do this that would work better, but I'm just finding more and more that everything is just getting pushed into arrays. It's just so much easier to keep track of things that way. And it's just, much easier for events to just look at a certain array for all the other events in that array and go, okay, well, every event in this array is this type of thing, and everyone in this one is this type of thing, and lets them all interact a lot better. I think the ultimate evolution of the game, the whole game will be in a giant array. That's probably not going to happen, but listen. Technically, the whole game is in a giant object. The RPGMaker's built out the window object. So you're technically in a giant object in the first place. An RPGMaker itself is a giant object. That works, that's good. Let's see if all 22 show up or not. I'm going to intentionally walk some of them off the screen though and then walk them back on because I want to see the bubble thingy remove them and then add them back and see if it breaks anything. So I remove those two from the thing. I'll go back and grab them and see what they are. That was interesting. We have 8. I don't think I've seen any duplicates. No, maybe I did. Oh, okay, that didn't work. So what happened was it tried to add one more that didn't even exist, which means it didn't actually successfully remove them from the array. It was actually adding too many. It's 264, is it? So game variables dot value 264. It says 0. That's the one we're pushing towards, right? 264? Oh, no, 364. My bad. I guess it's just not removing them. I don't see the same one twice though, so it's not pushing the same event IDs. It's just not stopping or removing them from the thing. And I think I have to do this code differently, right? Because what it's doing is music is very much louder in my ears than it is for the stream. Let's describe what's even doing. Actually, what I should do is random from that array and an array of those numbers and subtract them. Oh, there's actually never mind. I see what's happening. Because it's counting 0 to 22, that's actually 23 numbers. But there's only 22 cards in the tarot, which would mean that I need to have the number be not 0. So I just push something to the array initially. Or also it spawned too many. It actually didn't remove itself from the array because that thing is there's 22 of them, and that bubble system really ruins things because I have to keep constantly adding and removing things, and it re-triggers the code. So where everything else I could get away with not doing it this way, the memory manager effectively makes this a lot harder than it needed to be. One of the concessions to JavaScript not being the best programming language for games. On the other hand, I could just not do all this, leave the 25 events there, and do it later if I want to do it at all. Also, wait a second, under collectible here. This is the problem with trying to introduce weird ideas like this, is I have so many code things going on now. It's so complicated that I often forget I did something. I need to do it right here in this part. Let me test this out real quick. Actually, never mind, I'll just do this. I don't actually need that comment there. It just sets it, when it's made instead, so I should just be able to have one event that does it all. And I just remove this from the other event. Overwhelmingly useful skip command. The single greatest upgrade they've made to MZ since its release, which isn't, I mean, I guess it is saying a lot. There was more than a few upgrades to MZ since it was released. Oh, this mouse is terrible. That's what I get for getting a $12 mouse or something. I should have gotten an expensive one or something. Ah, no, it says it's a good deal, blah, blah, blah. It's got 5 stars on Amazon. Yeah. Starting to feel like some of those reviews might not have been legit. I think there was a few hundred of them or something. That's a lot of fake reviews. Alright, let's see if it breaks or not. I don't know why I'm destroying that. Also, I don't see a single puzzle piece, which says a lot. A lot like something is broken. Whoa, whoa. Readings. What we got going on here? That thing was going nuts. To 105. 1005. This mouse is horrible. Maybe this mouse pad's not that good for it. I don't know. Old mouse pad as well. Oh. I do have a method to set a self variable on all of them if I want. Like every event and the player and everything can all have it. So I could technically give everything a puzzle piece number or just some sort of identifier. Then I have to recode a bunch of things instead of using the self variable plugin that was already there. Well, already there being that I found it and have already set it up and I'm using it. But I don't really know if I want to do that. It seems kind of ridiculous, just saying. This mouse does not work very well. I think I'm actually collecting the same one over and over. Or like a bunch of copies of things. Well, actually, maybe not, because I'm only removing it from that array if it's pulled by the memory manager. I'm not removing it just because I collected it. Why can't I walk that direction? There's something there. Okay. What in the world is not removing itself? It must be the cards themselves. Maybe they just don't have a way to get rid of them. It's possible. Nothing else is new. Well, for this test, I still want to try to find all the cards and just get it over with, so... Oh, okay. Once again, it tried to find 23, so it's not removing it from the array. It should only be spawning 22 of those events, or it's spawning them again and again. Oh. How far down this rabbit hole do I want to go, or should I just work on actually something that makes the game playable? You know what? I'm gonna executive decision this. I'm gonna go ahead and just remove that temporarily here. And I might come back to this later. So I can already see that this sounds like it's cool on paper, but this is like a programmer's idea of what's cool on paper. In all reality, it's just a rabbit hole that I will probably spend the next 2-3 hours on trying to make it so much more efficient, only to discover that at the end of the day I have arrived at almost exactly the same setup as I had at the start of the day. That I guess is programmed better, but so the player won't know. Yes, let's just stick with this. It's much better plan. As far as puzzle pieces go, I still had to make those even work. Alright. Let's make certain it works again before I go back to doing whatever. I'm gonna work on combat stuff today. One of the things that takes the longest is just sitting there and balancing combat things. Trying to make all the abilities work and the like. It's just a lot of work. How do I feel about that? I might use a different level to test to see if it's actually all of them or not. That does it. That level, I don't know what's up with it. It's weird. I just copy and paste it over for another area. It should lead to a regular level, but it doesn't seem to lead to a normal level. I could space the combat areas out more too. I think that that might be not a bad idea. My biggest crime in doing all this game dev stuff is that I really try to rush things too much. I just try to cram it all in and not give the player time to kind of step back, enjoy it or whatever. How's your project going, Mathis? You working hard on it? I actually don't even know what your project is offhand, but that's just me in a nutshell. I can't ever remember it. Like anything I saw 3 minutes ago. If you don't believe me, just watch how I code. Boy, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. Well, here's a problem. Why are there 23 of them? You know? Or 24 of them? Or 26? No, wait. I think I know. Come to me, puzzles. The puzzles are adding to the same number, okay. So when the puzzle's destroyed, let's make a second thing just to keep track if the puzzles have been collected or not. My dad will keep it, but I'm not even sure what I'm going to do on some of these things. I'll probably have a quest thingy up here or something. So we'll put this under the player stats. So let's add a thing, add a new component. I need a picture. Have a puzzle piece in here. I do not. Well then, let's fix that. Oh, it's not gonna be one there. Suddenly I have to actually put one in there. Sure, why not? I still haven't bothered to make all the little side pictures for this yet, or all the puzzle pieces. I probably should. Puzzle menu. This way, when I go to replace it later, it'll be the easier to remember than the specific name from the other game. So I don't have to actually do that. I swear, like, they could have put this program as part of RPGMaker MZ and it would have been amazing, but they did not. Because a third party made this. It did a better job. Horrible. I guess the puzzle piece thingy will go there, huh? Gotta look good, just has to make an easy collection thingy that I can add to later. That's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna have to set up a system that tells it which it's done here, but I guess I'll just do 4 for that. I'll make the system later. What does collectible array do? Which is easier? I guess I could just do mode separate and then. For the default, it's taking the event ID there and setting the array for variable number and then pushing puzzle piece. Do these use the same puzzle piece thingy? Maybe? Piece number? Okay, so they are different. I guess I'm just switching mode, huh? Do I switch mode? Here's to an if. Either way of doing this is not a good way. I don't like it. I guess the other option is just to have a completely different command. Ugh, neither sounds good. I guess this requires the least amount of recoding, even though it's terrible. I'm not going to add any more mechanics to the prototype. This is the last one. I'm just going to actually make the regular gameplay and everything after this. This is just it. I don't need any more. I realize it's somewhat of an important one, but yeah, I'm good. Just balance what I got. To be honest, I kind of almost want to lean it more on just the projectiles and make the abilities more special abilities that you could use sometimes, as opposed to like stat based or like magic based or anything like that. No, that's wrong. As opposed to Diablo based. I guess I'm looking for more of a Zelda than a Diablo at that point. At least I'm starting to realize that balancing all those other things seems like it'd be very challenging. So I think I did every other one for these. Wait a second, that's not what I want. That's every other one all the way up to 16. or 6. All right. Funny thing is, when I tried UE, you still ended up playing with a lot of arrays and everything like that too. The basic concept doesn't really change. You did them changed. Didn't involve anywhere near as much typing, but overall, basically the same. So let's copy paste this whole thing here. And copy all the digit. Mouse is so sticky, I hate it. Alright, so oh, caps lock's on. Have to have the exact right, upper lowercase thing there, otherwise it will count as a completely different name. And then, how did I code this other one? Let's see. What did past me think was a good idea? Oh, I just have collected variables. That's actually why I have them. Fair enough. I guess that makes it easier for the interface. Alright, so it's actually 84, 85. And what? Puzzle collected, max, sure. So 104, 105. Sure. Not the best, but save this right. Let's see. Yep. Let's see if it explodes or not. There's a good chance it will. Just goes pop. Oh, wait. It's one other change I have to make. Let's see. I just wrote this command. You think I would actually remember to... Oh, wrote the option on this command. You think I'd remember to use it? I don't think that's used anywhere else. I think it's just used there. I don't know why it would be used anywhere else. Yeah, I don't know why it'd be used anywhere else. Try this again, but this time with feeling. Moment of truth. Well, before we get all moment of truth here, there's also... we need to set the max number too. It's probably just in the map builder, I assume. It's so weird that, you know, when you double click on a command, it brings up event commands, which is just bizarre. If you hit spacebar, it brings up the actual command itself in like the dialog port. You'd think that would be the default. It's not. Very strange. So there's 25 of these. I'll probably have to have some sort of setup to make it so that that's changed by the other thing. I probably need to just make an entire function that just sets it all that up eventually. As long as I'm not actually moving anything during that time, I can pretty much put everything in plugins. Anything that can be executed in one frame. Let me toss into a plugin. Or I should say into a function call. Obviously your regular plugin could technically do whatever it wants. Upon executing just a random function call, you've only got one frame to execute it, so movement doesn't exactly work. I got one. Yay. Woo. No way I'm fighting anything. Why in the world is that? Okay, it's a messed up image thing where the image was spawning as part of one of those events. Something's not going away here. Let's see, F10. The dollhouse did not actually remove itself from the thing. How about you? One did. That's weird. I feel like I've listened to this track more than a few times at this point. It's like, 60 plus tracks on there. You would think that it would not play the same ones repeatedly, but here we are. Well, let's put more tracks on there. Yeah, something's spawning, but not really spawning. Huh. Also here, things aren't zeroing themselves out correctly. Is there an error going on or something? Not really. Could be interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and keep that link. Oh, the things I do to beat this engine into submission. I think the enemies are just not correctly despawning, but a lot of things don't seem to be despawning correctly for Suddenly. Hey, like I won't have to run this test more than once. I just want to see if it collects all the pieces or not. And all the tarot cards, or if it goes above the number. Get strapped to him or something? Okay. There's definitely some image glitches going on. I'm not much of a fan of. The boss spawned perfectly. Nice, nice. I forgot I set him to spawn at the max number. Okay, this still sounds like I've heard this song before many times. Let's do random. Worst random ever. I'm missing 2 puzzle pieces here. Also, what's the FPS currently? Yeah, let me double check this. I updated the MWJS, so it should pretty much just hit at 60 most of the time. This is one of my least favorite tests I have to do to see if all the number of something spawn. Just because it takes so long. Usually they play a noise if you're nearby them, but I guess there's no noise playing? I recall turning the sound off, but I don't see it. I don't know what this last piece is. Over there is at a table. I think it's a table. I guess it's a good stress test where I'm just constantly loading all these events and unloading them. Also, I've got that on too, which should even make it, which was even more resources required. I don't know, like, did it spawn the last piece? I have no idea. I guess I'm gonna have to tell it to log all the numbers so I can see if all the numbers spawn. For some reason I thought the same system that spawns all the all 22 tarot cards would successfully spawn all these ones, but it does not look like that's the case. Or I'm missing a number from there. That's also possible. I might be missing a number on the thing there. Okay, I'm willing to call it that I can't find that one. If it takes me that long, I need a mechanic so the players can find them quicker. It would also make some of the enemies spawn them when they are killed. I don't know. Of course, if I don't do that, I could have a pacifist version of the game, just in case you're just, you know, the ultimate good guy. You just don't kill any of the toys except the bosses. That would be an option, I guess. It's probably not the case. I don't know how deep this is supposed to be. Probably not that deep. Why does it feel like I've heard half these songs repeatedly and often? I think that when those are spawned, let's just piece is fine. I don't need to write the rest of that. So let's count the number of things in this up here. Could be as simple as I only put 24 things to spawn in the first place. That's map order. What am I looking at map order for? There's 5 of them. Oh clones of each other, so it should be pretty easy to do them all. One of the options I was thinking is I could also just not memory manage them, just have them remove themselves from the array. If I do that, it would stay on the map. And then the player wouldn't have to constantly worry about them. But it is RPGMaker, and you do have to be really careful about how many resources you use with it. If this were UE, I would just leave everything on the map and be like, whatever, it's fine. Well, this, I'm already walking a fine line with what it can and can't do. Honestly, I think I'm sticking my foot across the line and pulling it back over and over and over. It's not even just walking in. Maybe occasionally jumping to the wrong side of the line, laughing, and then jumping back. And whenever Arm gets too angry at me, like, nope, right back over. Oh, this is my least favorite test. Alright, I have to check and see if really spawned him in the first place or not. You know what? I have a way to speed this test up. Yes, I do. It won't be a fair test. That's okay. Let's change this number to a big number. Yeah. I should be able to move around at like double speed the whole time. Pass through objects, so that'll make collecting everything infinitely faster. I should have made this a point-and-click adventure game. I have too many systems I'm trying to make that are supposed to do all these crazy things. If I just, you know, split them up between games, I probably would have been way better off. Alright, let's do this. There's one in here. There it is. Oh, her little trail vanishes eventually. That's okay, I'm not really that worried about it. I mean, normally it lasts for like 2 to 3 seconds as opposed to this where I've been using it for like a minute. If there's an error in the plugin that causes the stuff to fall off after a while, that's fine. Not normally a problem. the tarot cards. Let's double check this now. The 25 to spawn. I mean, have they all spawned? That was the question. There's 1, 2. Looks like 3 is never. Oh, 3's right there. 4. 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You got a 15 somewhere in here. Fifteen's right there, 16. 17. 18, 19, 20. 1, 22, 23. There's 25, only is 24. If 24 is spawned, that means they've all spawned at one point or another. Am I blind? I'm not seeing 24. But it's an identical event. Yeah. Interesting. The tarot cards all spawn. I wonder if it's just running out of spaces to spawn things. It's possible. There is a limit on just how much you can really spawn without making the map bigger. The big worry here is my code wrong, or is it just that overwhelmingly hard to find the pieces, the last ones, in which case I would need to change the mechanic outright. But if it's terrible coding, then I probably would just find it in pretty reasonable order. So now we're doing the walk of shame here, as we try to figure out which of the two is true. This really is the single worst part of doing RM, is that this system has to exist in the first place. This bubble system that I have to memory manage and everything has to exist, or RM can't handle this. And the amount of time and effort put in to make this thing even work, fix problems with it, is just huge. I'm not sure I'd wish this system, like this particular plugin, on my worst enemy at this point. Never mind the fact I made it and spent a fortune and time on it. I really just, I'm not a fan. I'm not seeing the last piece. I don't think the last piece has ever spawned. After having gone up and down the map, we're going down the last little area here, and it has never spawned. Yeah. It didn't error or anything, I thought. Wait, oh, that's part of that. I thought it might have been the piece. I was like, oh my god, there it is. But it would show up on the thing. If it had spawned, it would show up over here on the list. Which is really what I'm watching for. And it's just never spawned. It really doesn't make any sense why it wouldn't unless it failed somehow. But there looks like there's plenty of open spaces for it to spawn. So you can definitely tell how hard it is on the system to run these up. I guess the things that aren't actually going away, like you can see a couple of them. Yeah. Maybe it's those that have a problem. Oh, because these have it too. If memory serves, I actually added it to my event spawner to remove those stupid things too, the colliders. Because they weren't removing themselves, and I had to put 0 on everything, so I could have sworn. No. Let's see. Well, once again, getting other people's plugins to work together is the worst thing ever. Something is being destroyed while it still has a collider. I assume it has to be the puzzle pieces. Nothing else makes sense. Because everything else has already been there. In fact, I can test that. Let's narrow this down before we get too crazy here. I don't want to check every shadow to find the problem. Not when I can, know which shadow was the problem in the first place. You can definitely tell this is the least popular day of the week for streaming. Kind of makes sense, really. People are done with their weekends. I get better numbers throughout the week. By the time my Friday rolls around, I get the best possible numbers. I wonder if I streamed over the weekends, how it would be. Problem is, I have to actually work a regular job too. I end up spending a bunch of time working then too, so. After all, it's not like this is going to pay the bills. I'm nowhere near popular enough on YouTube for this to pay the bills. Oh, no, something is still spawning. I think it is the tarot cards. Wait, it's not cleaning a lot of things suddenly. Why is that? Clean those. Oh no. Am I really about to fight again with this plugin? Are the tarot cards responsible? Oh boy. There's a lot of fundamental problems in these games, and I think so many of them come from just trying to ram other people's plugins together. So many systems that just... I mean, it's nice that they made them. These people did a wonderful thing, but it really does feel like a lot of times them just duct taping things together and hoping that I don't have to be the one to go in and fix it later. No, something else is doing it. It's none of those. Yeah, right there. This is also doing it. Okay, well, the next test is to see if its test happens on all the maps. Well, if that one map is just somehow defective. What is up with this? Okay, they can be destroyed, fair enough. Yeah, I think the little tiger kitties are too fast. You can tell by how one's keeping up with me. And are you passing through? Wait a minute, the hops go through stuff because the jump command in this game is stupid. There's an action RPG plugin that tests for that, but the problem with it is that I have to use a completely different move system, and then I gotta rework everything. And that move system doesn't even do colliders. It just does larger grid spaces, which I mean would have been cool when I first started, but at this point I'm not that excited about it at all. Interesting. So it seems like that problem is actually something only from that map. If that's the case, then that's fine. I don't really care about that map, but half the streams are bug fixing streams. I'm gonna check something real fast here. Do that test. There's a running gag going on Twitter. According to it, every post I have ever made for a stream, not a single person has clicked the link. Not even one. Like a few people have interacted with the tweets, but oftentimes it's like just bots retweeting stuff. It's not even actually a legitimate interest. Which really makes me wonder why I'm posting on Twitter in the first place, you know? Because you'll be like, oh, well, 70 people viewed this tweet. 0 people clicked it. I think I've been trying for, I don't know, a few weeks on Twitter to see if I would get any engagement off of it, but no, I haven't. I really haven't indeed. Oh wait, that's right, we're testing to see if there's a... Oh, never mind. Don't go into this level, dude. This is the one that I know is got a problem. Sure, whatever. Exit. Yep. This one was working fine. Alright, so what we're looking for is... Oh, once again, I can see something is just not cleaning him. Interesting. That one right here. Is it too late to switch to UE? Oh my gosh, making all this step work that thousands of lines of code to reach this point would be horrible. It's not happening all the time, but it is happening. No, they aren't clearing them away, they're just stuck in things. But I mean, that makes sense, they'd be stuck in things, because that means that they tried to teleport away to a different location, but it left their thing there. Well, actually, those ones are just things inside of them, so those aren't even like real things. These ones are real. Why? I don't get it. This is one of those problems that's going to take a lot of effort to figure out what's causing it. Ugh. Welcome, Pigeon Man. How's your night going? Hopefully more exciting than mine, since I've just discovered a obnoxious error. I did fly all around the map. Last time, oh, 24 spawned this time, so it really doesn't seem to be super relevant which causes each one to spawn. It seems to just not spawn all of them. Or did it? Site 2 hasn't spawned yet. Also, there's a lot of these that spawn. I need to do a different strategy with those. I don't think I'm going to use the tiger kitties. I'm going to leave them out temporarily. If only because I don't want to write all the behaviors for them. Because writing all the behaviors for them, I already have a bunch of enemies I need to do, and it's just for a prototype, so in the interest of it being released sometime soon, I should probably not add a whole bunch of new enemies that require a whole army of behaviors. Maybe just stick with the handful I already have. It's only supposed to be like maybe 20-30 minutes of gameplay. Well, maybe longer. Technically, these levels take quite a bit of time. I almost want to reduce the number of collectibles, though. It seems like there's too many. I need something to trigger the boss off of. Right now, it's just collecting all the tarot cards. I'm going to do a test here. I want to see if it's not spawning them because there's not enough space. We'll executive decision this. Let's just make the map like 200 by 200. Let's do all of them like that. The only reason I haven't made the maps bigger is actually that the mini-map ends up taking up too much space. So it's kind of not the best. Like, well, I could make it bigger, but it's hard to find anything without the mini-map. Like, it's really hard. I played the game without the mini-map. It's not what you want to do. And it does kind of build the entire level on the mini-map so you can kind of see it, but the reason why you only see a little portion of it in a given time is because the bubble's culling everything. So what I need to do is figure out how to program the mini-map to stay in a certain area and just build itself around the player. But my problem with it so far has been I don't quite get the math to pull that off. Like there's something I'm missing in getting the right coordinates. At one point I ended up with reversed coordinates, but when I did the math the opposite, it didn't reverse where the pictures were. It was like there's definitely some calculations I'm just doing wrong. Let's try 200 by 200 maps. My image plugin is also handling the mini-map. It just does everything. For all the mini-maps just displaying images in relation to something, so the plugin is more than capable of doing it. I really need to make a public release of that. Like, it's so powerful. It really does help make up for RM so much. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it is very, very strong what it does. Okay, first of all, let's just get rid of these things. I need to just stop having them spawn and thing like that right by the gate. Unless I'm working on quests, then I can do it, but otherwise it's just not the best. Wait, did I walk into something there? Yeah, there's still something there too. I wonder when that error started, because it didn't used to do that. Alright, well, I'm just going to see about the one problem at a time. Let's make certain everything spawns, and then I'll hunt down that error. I really just need to make my event spawner clear all colliders. That's why I have a custom event spawner, because it has to do things that like clear self variables that are made by other plugins and colliders apparently now too. It also needs to be really good at removing itself from memory. And it also recycles event numbers like crazy, because that's actually the reason why all the other event spawners aren't very good. Is because if you sit there and spawn enough events, eventually just having to check through that array is too much for it. Wait, am I able to go off the side? No. It starts to be so much that RM can't handle it. So it starts lagging. And don't get me wrong, normal people will never achieve that problem. This is a scenario where I've, like, this map is made up by literally hundreds of events, so it's a little too much for RM to handle. Because every time the bubble thing, you remove something and then it adds another one back in, it respawns them, it would just keep adding to the event array, and eventually, after the event thing hits like 7,000 plus events, it starts to really have problems. So to make the system work at all, it has to recycle event numbers, thus constantly removing each thing from the array. I forgot exactly the name of the JavaScript command that does that, but I wrote it a while ago. It's in there. It's great. Regrettably, that also means it can't use the VS plugins, or at least not the movement core, because it's also an event spawner. It just conflicts. There's nothing I can do about it. I mean, there's actually stuff I could probably do about it. I could go out of my way to what is that practice called? Basically, you make your own functions that are proxies for it. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a name for what it is. And I remember doing it for community lighting, because community lighting originally, when it was Terex lighting, had a bunch of like functions like that were just directly overriding RM stuff, and you can't do that. If you do that, it will fight with other plugins, and we see the big problem with how the bubble system works and everything. If you use that ghost form, it can go too far, and then when it kicks you back, it will in fact break everything. Just removing all these from there so I could see how it would handle things. There's way too many of these enemies. I can't believe 10 counts is way too many. Ugh. That's not cleaning memory very well. It's logging some console stuff though. I guess there's that. Got some fails on there, I guess. Map is bigger too. Could be that ARM can't even handle this much too. Lots going on, so we'll find out. Definitely hitting some lag, but I also have that open, so the fact it's not clearing colliders is a pretty big problem. Also, the problem with the little tiger kitties here, just their quest mob, which means that they can't be despawned. So because of that, they are constantly running, and they are running 30 different images every frame. So by doing that, it means that there is now, when 10 of them spawn in, there's 300 extra images every second being dealt with in ARM. Just, my plugin's amazing and all. It's very good at what it does, but those things aren't part of the bubble thing, so the memory management doesn't happen for them. My image plugin's doing its best. There's still a cap on how many images that RM can handle at any given time, even if I am trying to sideload them in so that RM doesn't know any better. I almost like the bigger map, but it's already kind of a pain to find everything, so maybe I don't like it that much. You can see how the mini-map goes off there, because the way the mini-map is programmed is that you essentially multiply the location of it by 1 point whatever. And you do that to both the X and the Y, and it'll put it in the corner, and you could just, if you did like a negative to the X and negative Y, we'll put it up in the upper left corner. And, so on down the line, plus X minus Y puts it in the upper right corner. You get an idea of how it works, and every time what happens is that it's spawning my it's making an image for each of these things, but it's also being told to make a duplicate image on the mini map. So the mini map is also secretly using 30 images a second for each of the things moving around on it too. So the amount of images being used is pretty stupid. Make no mistake about it, that plugin is very strong at what it does. That's why the tiny little people can move around on the minimap. Except for when the minimap is partially off the screen, because I made it too big and it's still multiplying the position, so I need to put a negative X and Y on there for its base position, because it's like base position plus the number that is the multiplication or something like that. I'd have to look at the exact code. Still don't see it, but to be fair, it is a bigger map. Let's see. I haven't necessarily looked everywhere, but I guess I'll leave that. Oh, wow. This might be just too much for RM to handle. I have the console open too. Oh gosh. And the bigger map. It's horrible. No. The console is pretty savage. This thing already balances itself on a razor's edge anyway. As long as this console's open, the razor's edge kind of collapses. Plus, there's two different Mirandas up there, and Tinka. In theory, Tinka should actually be memory managed too. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Everything can be added to the bubble, and maybe she should be. The bubble doesn't currently have a way to, like the randomizer for it doesn't currently have a way to specifically place things on a certain target location. Just to make certain that something exists. So, you can also, so I can't just random her in there, but I can also place her beforehand, or I could actually make code that specifically places something at a location for important events. Which probably should be code that exists, to be completely honest. I'm just looking for the last puzzle piece, seeing, like, once again, this test is, if it's, to see if it's really just not spawning it. If the map size is irrelevant. Because if it doesn't spawn now, it means it was not a space issue. It means it was, I guess, an array length issue. Which means there's something wrong with the actual spawner, which is bizarre because it spawns all 22 tarot cards every single time. So that doesn't make sense that the actual event spawner would have the issue. How much as there's an issue with the length of the array that I'm supposed to be using. But I checked it, it's got 25 events in it. And last time 24 didn't spawn, but I'm pretty sure 24 spawned this time, so I don't think yeah, 24 spawned this time, so it's not event 24 that's an issue. Whichever one is puzzle piece 24 would not actually event number 24. Oh my god, this is the worst test ever. But the only way to be certain that it hasn't spawned it is to comb the map. But after this, I can pretty much safely assume that it just never spawns all 25. It's one off. And that I also don't like collecting all these. That could just be being a tester. I don't like it because as a tester, it's just, you have to do it over and over. One of the things I've learned over doing this, because I had a real fetish for randomization, especially early on. But what I've learned is a lot of randomization it's so samey. Like, you know, it's really hard to make your stuff seem like it's even remotely unique when you randomize it. And the only way to make it actually, you know, unique is to put things in that aren't that random. Be it, you know, essentially like little islands that you spawn of things that are all very specific, or even just whole sections that are always spawned in certain areas. And I realized that the original Diablo did exactly that. Just to make stuff seem a little less samey, it would have rooms that were like very specifically designed, it would spawn those in. But I think that if I any other game I make after this will not use randomization. It's honestly just not that fun. You have to make very unique events to make it interesting. Oh. Puzzle piece 18 spawned in somewhere. Said so. You're nearby it. There it is. Wow. Okay, well, we can draw a conclusion from this. First of all, those puzzle pieces are really hard to find. Oh, I took off there. Like really hard to find, and they're not fun to find either. Like, I mean, that took a very long time. That was tedious. So that's a conclusion. The next conclusion we can draw, you know, is that the event spawner, the bubble maker, think that it does its job and it does it well, and that makes sense because why it would spawn 22 of something in a list but not 25, that doesn't make any sense. That's not how the code works. Code will always produce the same result. This isn't like creative writing. You don't get different results out of, you know, running the same code. This is math, and it's 100% something is always as it is. If there's a reason why it's not coming up with the same result, it's a mistake somewhere in there. But it's not. The code will always do what it's told to do. So we know that's true. We also learned that the map cannot be any bigger or it just lags like crazy. Something else to take away from this. Might need to memory manage all that other stuff too. Let's put these back to this. I need to rethink this collectible thing. It's just not fun. Or maybe I just don't like it. Maybe that's it. But I also don't like the gacha games or anything like that. The games that are just like the freemium games where you just do the same repetitive stuff. I like there to be something somewhat unique to it. Ironic that I went for randomization. I think it was really just I like coding so much. And just doing weird things. Because I mean, one of the first things I did in Unreal Engine, actually, maybe not the first things, but one thing I did in Unreal Engine was make a randomizer in that really fast too. The only difference is though is I didn't have to memory manage any of that. So the actual randomizer and the whole level took, I think, like 1 day to make. Because UE already does that for you. It does the memory managing. It also does all your colliders, so you don't have to do those as well. So I don't have to use something crappy like Q movement that's not even made for MZ. I actually did some fixes to make it work with MZ. That guy was far better at math than me. All I have to say is that I look at the code for Q movement and it uses just math that I just don't understand. It's probably trig. It's almost certainly trigonometry. And my memory for trigonometry class sucks. It just does. Like, I took it in college. It was, well, that class that I crammed and managed to get through. It was never my strong suit. No. Not at all. So it does like all these sine and cosines and stuff, and it's just, at least there's some real calculations that it feels like someone needs to just tell me the formula for it, because I'm never going to figure out the formula by luck. Yeah. Okay, so I guess in each area, I just want to spawn a few of them. That's got to be more fun. Do I make the puzzle pieces what's used to open the next area, or do I make the tarot cards? It's one of the two, and then the other one becomes the collectible that you find along the way to unlock things. Well, I guess if I do the tarot cards as the thing you only find occasionally, then you can unlock more for the tarot matching game to get larger area, like larger. You just unlock each level of it, and then give different rewards based on that. So it's its own quest. And then the puzzle pieces make sense for opening up the next area. So I think that's really what I should do, which means that I need to. How am I doing this here? Almost feels like a rabbit hole I shouldn't have gone down, right? But I went to all the trouble to make a cool puzzle mini game to put the puzzle pieces together. So now I kind of want to use it. Very true. Very true indeed. Well, while I'm thinking about that, I'm going to fix the little tiger kitty problem. These are quest NPCs, so let's make them spawn. Oh, each one could spawn something different. So 114, 23, and 18. I guess in reality, instead of making more collectibles, I should be making more quests. don't spawn the clown heads. I guess I could, though they're a little weird. Yeah, so 1, 14, 23, and 18. Gotta close the previous version. The problem with the randomizer is that whenever you want to test if something is active, you have to go find it. Like, I can't just spawn into a specific area and make certain it works. I'm leaving on this ghost form thingy. I get like 50,000 or something, so this way I can just do that. Maybe I'll make that a dev mode option. It's weird that it goes away though. I guess it doesn't matter, because like I said, they're never going to have that, but why would it go away? This isn't my plugin responsible for that particular effect, so I have to go through and figure out how they did it. Oh, the number of nights I've spent looking at other people's code trying to figure out what in the world they were thinking. This isn't even including the nights I spent looking at my code thinking, what in the world was I thinking? Where is Quest Mob? I don't know. I ran past her at some point. Alright, that helps. Where are you at, lady? You stuck in something? Oh, she's down here. She's caught inside something too, isn't she? I thought I had a code to fix that, but why does it feel like everything in RM just randomly breaks? I mean, to be 100% certain, like, if it was really just, you know, if it really was just the game dev equivalent of like a leaky pipe that you were just constantly duct taping together and it was slowly leaking out more water, that would probably be it. Like, that's really how I view the engine half the time. Okay, well, she's caught in something, so I have to redo the test anyway. But yeah, like, it's not really RM that's doing it, it's all the plugins you put on top of it. After all, then at that point you're making the code involve a lot of random X factors. A lot of X factors. And they're all just stuck inside things? Really? Wait, what? Okay, that's working, but why is this broken? Okay. There's a plugin that I'm using that handles common events strapped to buttons and everything. Oh, the amount of trouble I've had with that plugin. I've actually done a bunch of error reports for him too to help him fix things. The worst part is it's the best I've found so far. I don't want to write it myself. Every plugin I have to write myself is just more dev time before I even get to mess with actual important things. That's weird. Suddenly every single attack besides the firewall is not working. What's bizarre is the same system handles every single one of those, so if one doesn't work, you would think none of them would work, but apparently that is not how it works. But with the thousands and thousands of lines of code involved with this, it could be a weird interaction. Most of the weird interactions are often caused because of poor plugin design. What happens is people overwrite the RM functions, and whichever one's bottom on the list is the one that takes precedent. But one plugin doesn't necessarily overwrite all the functions of another. So what will happen is it'll overwrite like one of them, and that one will now behave in a very different way. And then the results that are given to the other plugins that use that function are now wrong. They're getting unusual results. Now that's why you get a lot of bizarre things going on. So there's a way you can do it where you don't overwrite the functions, and that is what you are supposed to do. But a lot of the plugin devs for RM are very lazy, like all the ones in the community. What they'll do is they make all these independent functions. I'm just terrible with names right now with this, but what they are is they just encapsulate it in its own little function, so they don't have to worry about potentially overwriting things. And that's okay, except for that when you want to reference it from something else, you can't, because it's kind of an enclosed ecosystem. So you got to write in various methods to do that. And I had to do that a bunch with Q movement. It was terrible. I advise against having to do that. But Q movement is still the best movement plugin we've got. Even if it wasn't even made for this engine, it's still the best one. There's just all kinds of problems going on here. Managed to destroy that too. Okay, there's just a lot of problems I'm seeing here. I'm gonna start making a list. I see where this is going. All right, so let's see. Last puzzle piece doesn't always spawn. Some colliders aren't being removed. When event relocates, because I'm not killing the event and having it not do it. It's when they relocate, it doesn't work. Let's see. Annibel shot sometimes destroys map blocks. Map blocks are the weird blocks that just make up the map. They're exactly what they sound like. What other problems I've been encountering? I should have been writing these down the whole way. I knew what to fix. Oof. looks like all the quest mobs didn't even spawn either. But I'm going to do a check on that first, because I might have been using the same array for those, and I am spawning in an extra copy of them to make it easier to test. But if they both spawn, it might screw it up. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove the tester one. See if that helps. Because right now, those are broken too. Quest mobs don't all spawn. I don't recall all these problems being a thing, so something I must have changed just ruined everything. At least I got the puzzle mini game to work. I'm just gonna take the win on that one. Actually, don't go in that one. Let's see if request even works. If that's just totally broken. I did delete a bunch of things that were not being used. At least I thought they weren't being used. Part of me wonders if I missed something and it was being used, but everything I got rid of was stuff that had been outdated by things. Like, it was not events that was being used. I did delete a couple common events, but the thing is I usually put asterisks by the common events I'm no longer using, so this way I know, like, when I come back later I can delete them if I haven't used them since. It's usually very calculated what I get rid of. She's right there, perfect. And those have spawned inside there too. Nice. Didn't really matter with the tiger kitties because they could just hop around. She's like spawned inside of it too, right? Still not all dead. Get them all yet? No? I don't think it spawned them all. I don't think it spawned them all at all. Oh, wait, never mind. I remember the problem here. The tiger kitty has special code. I'm gonna put him back in then, 301. Fine. I just want to make certain it works before I go down the rabbit hole. Always feels like there's at least one very unproductive stream every single week. I just find all the problems and then spend the whole time trying to fix them. Then the other one's usually trying to make a system, but it's always that one stream where it just seems like stuff's just real broken. Even though didn't seem that broken before. Why? Oh, that's right, I can just cheat to find it really quickly. Alrighty then. There they all are. How are you passing through things? How is this even possible? It's an issue with the Q Pathbind, which is a plugin off of a plugin off of a plugin. And it is temperamental like no other, but without it, there's no mouse movement. Q movement, which is why I was looking at other movement systems, because I really would like to get rid of this entirely. They all spawned, did it work? Yeah, okay, it works. At least that's not a problem. But I do need to mark that mouse randomly, actually, not randomly anything. What it's doing is it's saving the last time I clicked. Mouse movement doesn't forget previous target. If using arrow keys, I guess. Even though I'm not using the arrow keys, I'm using WASD, but I switched them to that. They're much better positioning than the arrow keys are. Oh, look at that. Images are strapping. Puzzle images sometimes strapped to mobs? Yeesh. There's definitely some wires crossed somewhere on that one. I'm not actually sure how that happens, though. It's like it didn't remove the previous image strapped to that event or something is my guess. It's a downside to have recycling the event IDs because RM doesn't clean its own event IDs very well. In fact, it actually just doesn't. It never intends you to spawn or despawn things. That's literally code added in by other people. So you basically have to rework the entire behavior of this engine is what I'm saying. Which I've basically done. On so many levels. Okay, well, those problems. Okay then, that's weird. Quest mobs suddenly instead of as player draws near. Honestly, the events are kind of spawning a little close to the player anyway. Also, destroyable gliders aren't being removed on death. Okay, that's good to know. There's the blue teddy. It went to all the trouble to make randomly. Could make him bigger. Actually, the first time I've seen that one move around. I redid his animation so that he's not as jerky and weird as the other ones are. I need to redo their animation entirely too. His movement didn't seem very jerky when he was leaving. Usually they seem like they're very jerky when they move around, but no. I need to reset quest array. I didn't kill any of the tiger kitties, or not enough of them. So I shouldn't have been able to complete the quest. All those little things you don't think about. I kind of left the quest system half finished, so that's my bad. I was like, I'm gonna make a puzzle system. Which, to be honest, probably should have not made. But it's kind of cool. I don't know. Sometimes it's about making RM do weird things, but it does seem like I need to stop making extra systems. So, another problem though is a lot of the enemies end up kind of pointless, or a lot of the NPCs end up pointless. Like, I guess I could have them do a story thing. I don't want to do about this ghost problem too, where, you know, it goes away like this and then you get too far back and it doesn't spawn the area. So I think what has to happen is I have to make a command for the bubble to immediately spawn nearby things. I am not looking forward to that command. Anytime the bubble gets opened up, bad things happen. That's just all you need to know about the bubble. Like, it's... in testing, it takes so much time. But also, the code is just super complicated at this point, too, so... What was I going to work on in this thing too while I'm at it? I'm just making notes of everything I need to fix. Just get it going. Puzzle game. Let's make note of shutting off portals during puzzle. Actually, disable portal until puzzle is completed. Make space bar. Actually, I guess make OK button both pick up and remove and drop stuff. Right now I have two different buttons. Seems a little less good. Overall, this thing seems to work reasonably well, though. Like, I'm not hating on it too hard. Oh, that's right, I have it set to do that. see, for puzzle minigame, move previous image when puzzle completed. Remember to reset the goal number to be 25. What else are we doing this? I guess I need to create like an area for the puzzles to happen as well. Create puzzle area, more complex puzzles. Maybe, man, kind of like I have for the tarot game. That's how that area would even look. What would I want to do with it? Here, let's click solve another. Oh, let's see. Remove solve another option if completing puzzle 2, enter next area. So that's fine. Might need to reset the number too while I'm at it. Do a quick test on that too while I'm at it. No, looks like it's good. And she just moves just fine afterwards, so that's good. If I do a different one. Maybe I should make art tonight. Usually after finding all the bugs, the last thing I want to do is sit there and fix them all that night. All that testing, it's like, ugh. You've won this night. Honestly, solving the little puzzles isn't that bad. Almost kind of fun. I don't know about an entire game like this, but I mean, I just saw a game on Google Play that was an entire game just like this, so okay, apparently I'm into that portal. Let's see. Quest stuff. let's make a thing there to fix it like that. Prevent quest mobs from being able to attack before the player enters the level. What was there I want to do with it? Maybe I'll make an area for the puzzle to happen in. Sitting there and solving these bugs right now does not sound fun, because what it'll take is for me to it'll take, you know, me to have a lot of testing. The testing is real boring. Yeah. That kind of bug testing means I got to sit there in the randomizer and just keep running around looking. Ugh. I'm not sure what I'm going to make that gameplay compelling. It's more fun than the original version, because I actually found the original version not that long ago, and oh my god, I was so proud of it when I sent it into the game jam. I mean, it was only made in a month, so you know, can't expect much out of that, but the gameplay was real boring. It was more just cool because of what it looked like than anything else. But in running around, like, I'm finding that the enemies are very samey and not that interesting. That could just be me, though. I'm not as excited by gaming as I once was, because making games is so much more exciting and interesting and in-depth than playing games ever was. It's really hard to go back to ever playing them. So true. So true indeed. Alright, well, I got my laundry list of crap to fix, so time to fix. I don't know why I closed all the windows. Make a save of this bug report here. Just so I don't accidentally close it and forget it all. Well, the puzzle pieces have all spawned, but here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that I probably shouldn't put all the things on the mini-map anymore. I don't think the map block should be on the mini-map. Because it's so hard to find things. Also, they're still getting stuck inside of things. Like, the people are so, it's just a continuous problem and will be forever. Could have just made levels at this point, but the issue is that RM can't handle the levels. They're too big for RM. So I would have to sit there and place them all by an array in advance, just estimating where they need to be. Which is why there's a randomizer doing it, because it makes up for the fact that RM just can't. Just no two ways it just can't. Make a note that I might want to put it back on, so map blocks 1 and 3, that's true. So turn back on the map images. There's a whole system for how the mini-map interacts with the status menu too. It removes all the images and then adds them all back again. Because otherwise, it would just be on top of the mini map as well. I mean, on top of the status menu. Which I guess I could have just left it the whole time, but. That. Guess this will do. Let's see how it looks without him. Okay, well. Mistakes were made. I don't think I made the system designed for this setup though. Let's see how I coded this. The whole system is rigged to run, show everything on there. Do I really want to make this change? I don't think I do. I was thinking about how much it would take to change that. Just to see if I thought it was worth it, but I kind of like that it builds a little world on the minimap. There, all the mini-map stuff is back up again. In the actual world, for that matter, too. Yeah. Let's see. Realm of paintings, I guess. Actually, inside the painting sounds a little more interesting, I guess. I'm trying to make it the same size, just to make my life easier. Alright, so then that map is 22. I almost want to make just a point and click adventure with a lot of mini games. The whole Diablo aspect of this and the randomizer is 90% of why the game has so many problems and takes so long to make. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it as what it is, but hindsight. Definitely 2020 on that one. I need a copy of this one here. Because my transfer system is actually super complex, so they can go to maps that are just randomly generated and everything. So it kind of requires a lot of work to make it get the job done. This is in DM. All right, so I don't even know what music I'd want to use. How many musics are there for this? Let's see. I don't really want to add extra music in right now, but I might put a different music. Let's go ahead and pause this for a second. Here. Okay, that's not going to fit. None of the battles are going to be good enough. You know what? I don't care about any of those. Well, I guess I could use, just for purposes of testing, I'll use a different one. So let's go to music box. Sure. It's different enough that it'll work. Her music's gonna be 7. And then Portal 3 is what I need the code from. Why do I have a know this boss? Seems an unusual thing to have in there. I'll skip it just for now, but sometimes I really question why I do certain things. My answer is I just don't know. I got nothing. No longer need this. Nice. Good copy paste there. Feeling it. Feeling it. Very good. It's everything I need, so... Oh. It's not everything I need. 2755. 22, 2755. The coordinates I need. And then We're gonna need a conditional on this. Game map. The dot map ID, right? It's underscore map ID. See, glad I checked. Also, it's got the $sign in front of it. Very important. Does not equal 22. There, do that, and there's no need to despawn this event. And it's kind of overly snarky and mean, but end up changing all the dialogue. And then on this map, probably should have some sort of record of where the player ends up, but whatever. I'm more interested in designing a level right now than I am coding fix. Nights I'm just super into coding, other nights I'm just not. Super into art instead. Should recognize that at the start of the day, probably better. What in the world is going on here? Seems like I'm all alone for the night. That's fair. Why does it feel like this track is played 400 times tonight? Yeesh. Some of the tracks are just like, it's supposed to randomize through so many tracks, and yet it does not seem like it is randomizing at all. What is going on this map? How is this map any different than the other map? It's just loading her over and over and over. Put it below that, put it above it. $280. She would need a different event entirely for in here unless she followed the exact same thing. Maybe I'll solve this problem for why she's not doing what she's supposed to be doing, and then I'll probably just wander off for the night, to be honest. Usually I hang out for about 3 hours, or until no one's watching. A lot of times. I guess that's not entirely true. Like, I mean, if it's been like 6 to 8 hours, I'll often just call it as well. But after 3 hours, if nobody's watching, I've already fulfilled my obligation to the algorithm, as they say. Wow, I didn't realize the back of her was so messed up. Never seen the back of her in this thing there, but I guess when it got when I did the walkthrough, I didn't pay attention to the fact that she's that maybe her rear might be a little more exposed than I would prefer. Not like a nudity or anything, but well, the realm of the painting. This is pretty weird. It could actually be a thing. Makes 2 random weathers for the painting thing. For the ground. Make King able to walk around. Wish I could do it right now. I can probably recycle her event. She's already getting kind of complicated. So we'll say it does not equal 22. What else on that? Otherwise, I wanted to be able to move towards the player, but then stop. I copy that code from somewhere, maybe. Actually, I think I have it on the minigame piece. I prefer not to retype code if I can avoid it. It's really annoying to constantly retype code. That's definitely one of the issues with RM in general, is that you end up doing a lot of typing of code. Something you don't have to do in newer engines. And it shows. It really does. So, borrow her coder real quick. So on 22, nice copy paste. Well done. You'd think the control C would work, but it did not work there. Annoying. This keyboard's having problems. It's a newer keyboard, so everyone's been a very good keyboard. I don't understand. I don't think that'd be the issue. Okay, so actually what I need to do is this, and I don't need this drag thing here, so I don't want her to be basically standing on the player, so I want her to walk to within like 150 of her. Else, she'll just turn towards the player. I'm feeling so much lower energy today. I don't know why. Just not feeling it like I once was. I probably have just done so much work today that by the time I get to this, it's just kind of draining. I did catch like an hour and a half nap, so that helps a little. But yeah, it's a little rough. I almost like the idea for the painting world where everything is just these weird things like this. Fair enough. Well, I'm gonna leave off at that then, because it's just me at the moment and we're past 3 hours, so obligation to the YouTube algorithm has been fulfilled. If you're watching later, I'll be back tomorrow night, probably to work on this painting world, because it seems like it might be kind of neat to just look at, and it turned out all this stuff I made from a previous game looks as bizarre and weird as you would expect a painting world to be, with space between paintings. So that's kind of neat. Anyway, we'll catch everyone later. Have a good morning, noon, night, or whatever it is for you. It's Imaginary Villain signing out. Have fun.